Why, hello and welcome to the 3DD podcast, episode number 4. My guest this week is Alicia Bell, IFBB Pro, online coach, Team HD coach at Pure Muscle and Fitness. And if I continue to fire off the entire resume, I will probably double the length of this episode. A major badass in the realm of the fit people, and most important to me, a longtime friend and supporter. I was very interested and excited to see where this conversation was going to go. As long as I've known Alicia and have listened to her stories and talked about her life, I do feel as though every time we sit down together and talk, I learn something new and crazy about her. So being in the context of a podcast, I knew this was basically going to turn into a story time show, and wow, she did not disappoint. I'll leave the details for you to hear on the show, but she has a great story and is a picture perfect example of finding success in the things that you enjoy. We talk about the importance of enjoying the process of something as being key to staying internally motivated, and that the path to your own success is rarely ever a straight line upward. You know, it ebbs and it flows and it peaks and it dips, but that's also why it's difficult to see the end game, if there even is one. I had a great time talking with Alicia, and I can't wait to do this again, and thank you for listening. You can follow Alicia Bell on Instagram, her YouTube channel, and all of her online and social networking platforms at Trainitright, and enjoy this episode of the 3DD podcast with Alicia Bell. Okay, I'll go. Okay, and good to go. All right, Alicia Bell.
Hey.
I usually open these up by asking, I was like, oh, how was your shoot? But I'm just like, you've done like a million
I have a lot of
shoots. Like,
yeah, well, I've done quite a few in the past.
You've done like commercials.
Yeah, I've done commercials.
Like,
I did like magazine
big, like,
covers.
Magazine thing, and then I show up and like, hey, this is my little camera, my little light.
No.
We're just running around.
Yeah, but I remember before you even had your little light.
Yeah. Wow. Before I knew anything about like lighting and stuff, I was like, you were one of the first people I was shooting like early on.
Facts.
I was like, isn't it crazy to think about
videos.
Like from the times that we like from the time that we first met, like Pure Muscle and Fitness didn't exist.
No, and I wasn't even living out in Burlington.
You were a city girl. So different. How long ago was that? It was just like
only like 4 years.
It's not even that long ago.
No, 3 years.
It's so crazy, isn't it?
I feel like it's been ages though.
Yeah. How was the move? I helped
back up my craziness.
Yeah. I remember like I was for the morning, I was helping you when you were leaving Toronto and you're moving up to Burlington. I helped you pack to leave, but then I left, so I didn't even see what happened when you're unloading.
Unpacking was so much easier. It was like smooth, like straight out of the truck into the house. It was very.
Because like
it took like no time.
Because I don't know if people know, but like you lived like where you lived before. It was like a townhome complex, and you were in one of the units that was like stairs. Like so you open the front door and it's stairs, and we're trying to like move a treadmill out of it. That was like one of the sketchiest ththings I've ever done in my life, is move a treadmill down this narrow staircase and then across this little plank.
The landlord never said anything about the door at the bottom.
No.
Because
did we tell you that we went to open the door and we turned the door off and it just came clean off. And we're just like
yeah.
Okay, and we just put it back.
Yeah, I'm not so handy, and that honestly was like that like the entire time I lived in that place.
Are you serious? It was just always like that? It was always broken?
Yeah, you just have to turn up.
That's so funny. That's so Toronto, though, is to just have something in your place that's broken that you just never fix.
Yeah, that's also so single woman. Like, I don't know how to fix anything. I can't change a light bulb. Like, I'm incapable of that. I just look strong.
That's so funny. Are you? How's the new place though? Is it like?
Oh, I love it. The only thing that I don't like about it is that it's detached. So like,
you don't like that?
Well, I do. I like it, but it's the first time I've ever lived in like a detached place. But I'm all by myself, like all by myself.
Oh.
So if like the dogs hear something, they like freak out, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, no one's going to find me.
But I imagine it's like a lot more space, and it's like,
yeah,
it's good for the dogs.
It is. They love it. They have like a fenced in backyard, so I can just throw them in the back. Like,
instead of just like running around, just tearing up your place.
Yeah. And I don't have to like take them for like, if I don't like in the morning, if it's like really cold, I just like open the door and put them in the backyard. Yeah. And then they do their thing. So I don't have to like get up early, get dressed, take them for a walk. Like I just let them run around in the backyard.
And just in general, like Burlington, well, because now you're with Team HD and over at Pure Muscle and Fitness in Burlington, so you're not just having to like commute across 2 cities.
Yeah, I'm like 10 minutes away with lights.
Yeah. So how is everything going with? Because you got a lot of things in the, because we're sitting in the new warehouse space. I'm not going to dox you guys, but like we're in the undisclosed under construction. It's nice though. It's like there's a lot of, there's a couple offices in the front, big warehouse in the back where you're going to be doing all your distribution and stuff like that.
It's a family affair. Like Dorian's dad and Noah's dad kind of did all this. Like he remodeled everything and painted and put up the boards.
Okay.
Yeah. He even helped me at my house. Put up my mirrors and like
big team energy.
Yeah. He's like all of our dads.
So are you like, how are you managing everything? How'd you schedule these days?
None of this was like planned. So I just started going to Pure like occasionally because I loved the gym. And then I was like, and I can't, like, I love Torque. Torque is like always home, right? But it's like for what I want to do, it's like bodybuilding, like heaven.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever come to Pure Muscle and Fitness, if you are a bodybuilder, if that's like your sport, if that's your discipline, this is like, there's nothing you can't get done there. It's like, it's the amazing. Ideal. Like when they call it the Mecca, there's a reason. Yeah,
it's amazing.
For a lot of people, it makes a lot of sense because, like you said, like Torque will always feel like home, but there are definitely limitations just because it's not tailored to what you do. Per se. Like there's for just straight up powerlifting and like strength based sports. Yeah, Torque is great, but. It's just not tailored as much and specialized as much as
exactly like Torque. I can get done what I need to do, but I can do more details and more like bodybuilding oriented workouts with all the equipment that's there.
Yeah, there's so many things that you don't even like think about.
Yeah, and then we have like Panada equipment, which is shipped in from Italy.
That's
and like
crazy.
The biomechanics of the machines are just so smooth and like very unique, and it's hard to find anywhere else. So.
I've never seen anything like it. They're so crazy.
And everything else is like Atlantis or Hammer Strength. Like it's good.
Yeah, like the first time you went there, what was that like?
I was like, it wasn't even officially open, and it wasn't as full as it is now. Like we didn't have as much equipment, but I was still like impressed.
Same.
Yeah, and there was no, like at that point there was just like, it was basically like Dorian and his bodybuilder guys and like me and my client that were like working out in the whole gym, and it was like I was like, I need to come here all the time. This is amazing. No one's around to bug me.
And then at what point do you get asked to join the team?
It was very random. Like I was totally happy with my coach. I still like love my coach that I had last year, like Shane Hewley. He's amazing. I was on the bike doing cardio like late at night after the Toronto Pro Show, and Noah, Dorian's brother, who's like the business brains of the operation, I was sitting on the bike doing cardio next to him, and he's like, you should just come out here. And he's like, why isn't Dorian coaching you? I'm like, I don't know. Dorian's busy. I have a coach. And then he's like, let me work on that. And I was like, didn't really think anything of it. And then like 10 minutes later, Noah's like, send my brother your information. And I'm like, okay. He's like, now. And I'm like, okay. Then I sent Dorian like, hey, this is the show I want to do. Because then I was going to prep and do like another show last year. I was like, this is a show I want to do. Like, here are my pictures, kind of what's going on. And the next morning I woke up at 9:30, and my email had this email from Dorian, and it was like my program. I was like, okay. And then I was like, how do I tell my other coach? Because like I didn't.
Oh, this is awkward.
Yeah. And I was like, I wasn't trying to leave him. Like it wasn't like that. There's no bad blood. Like I was happy with his coaching, and then the next day, like I got the program, and then Noah and Dorian were like, hey, how about you come coach for Team HD? Because like we see that you're a coach, you got a lot of clients, it'd be a really great fit. We need another female coach. I'm like, okay, sounds great. And then like before I knew it, they had put me on their Instagram, like, and a lot of my old coaches, like clients follow me. And I was like, I still hadn't told him. I was like, oh my God, it was like 24 hours there. Like, how do I say this to him? Like, because I was like sad. Because I was
whirlwind.
like, I was like, oh my God, like I'm sad, but I was like excited. And then one of his other clients messaged him, and then he messaged me. And he's like, I would have hoped you have told me. And I was like,
all
I
right.
didn't have time. But it was good. It was good. We hashed it out. It was okay. He's cool. And yeah, so then I started coaching, and then it just kind of developed into like, they realized like my skill sets. So then I started like doing a lot of admin stuff for Team HD. So now I'm fully doing all the admin, all the social media for Team HD.
So anything that gets posted on
anything
Pure.
gets posted, and then
So
I
if
moved to Pure. So I wasn't always doing Pure. Noah was doing a bit of Pure. And then Noah's like, do you want to take over Pure? And I'm like, sure. And then Noah's like, do you want to take over Heavy D? And I'm like, okay, sure. He's like, how about Muscle Midge? And I'm like, okay, sure. So then I have all the email addresses, like the info. I have my own email addresses for like each one of them. I have my coaching email address. So I'm kind of like the behind the scenes everything. And I wasn't going to be involved in the supplement company at all. Like it was just like it's like every business is its own separate entity.
Yeah.
And then Noah's like, hey, do you want to be the athlete manager since you talk to everybody anyway? And I got involved with like the supplement side. So now I also answer the info email for the supplement company. I don't do the social, but I do all the athlete management. I've got about 30 affiliates that I'm managing right now. And then like right now we only have 2 sponsored athletes, but we're trying to grow the team, and we're going to pick our affiliates like that we think are doing a really good job and make them sponsored athletes. So it's going to grow, but I have all these athletes that I'm managing on top of all that stuff, on top of my Trainitright stuff. And so, yeah, I just have to be really organized.
Yeah, but see, like it sounds...
a little side job of being an IFBB Pro.
Right. Yeah, let's not forget that.
Yeah, let's just add that on there.
Like above all, like on top of all that, by the way, I'm also a
competitive
professional.
IFBB,
Yeah. But like it all sounds like it all just kind of happens all at once, but at the same time, you know, if you don't lead the life you live up to this point, then really none of that just clicks together, right?
No,
like it's
not at all. Like if I hadn't,
it's a cumulative thing.
If I hadn't started my own business and wasn't doing like admin and social for that and grow my social from like nothing, I wouldn't know what to do and how to help them.
Yeah, I feel like that happens with a lot of things though. There's a lot of like right place, right time. Things tend to happen. Like I can't explain it, but like things like that just tend to happen when you are like ready.
Yeah, fate.
Somehow, so there's something to that. Because I'm like, if we backtrack, because I'm like, do they? First of all, do they know? Or for that matter, do like your followers know like your extensive athletic history? Because it's
you know what? Like,
it's very wide.
I feel like I've grown like more in the past like 3 years than before. So like I don't feel like my newer followers kind of know even the background of how I became what I am today or all the things that I've done.
Yeah.
Because to me, I like I do something, I excel at it or whatever, and then I like move on. And then sometimes I could forget. I'm like, oh yeah, I did this. Oh yeah, I went there. Oh yeah. So I don't think a lot of them actually know all of the things that I've done or like the levels I've competed at.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, for the most part, I try to not make this like a story time podcast, but if I'm going to do that for anybody, it should probably be you, because
I have
like,
a decent story.
You've got you've got a pretty wide story, because then like that spans like a career of like running, and then somehow, and this is something that we've never talked about, but how you ended up in like the lingerie league,
the football league. Yes.
We'll get there. But like when I don't like, do a lot of people know, like, because you're kind of from like a nowhere town.
Yeah, village actually. It's not even a town.
Is it called a village?
It is a village. There's not enough people there to call it a town.
What? So it's classed as a village? The village of Plaster Rock?
Sure is.
Is Plaster Rock in Ontario?
No, it's in New Brunswick.
Oh yeah, I remember that, because I
went to university in Halifax, and then I moved to Ottawa. Then I moved to Vancouver. Then I spent a long stay in LA. Moved back to Vancouver.
I don't live in LA.
Moved to Ottawa. Moved back to Vancouver, and then moved from Vancouver to here.
And this is over a span of how many years?
Well, I mean, like after I graduated university in Halifax.
Oh, okay.
So like it's like,
so I'm
not trying to date myself, but it was not a spring chicken.
But you start in a little in the village.
In the village.
The village of Plaster Rock.
No, actually, in fact, I'm not even from the village. I'm from like outside of the village. A place called North View, which is like a dead end road with like lots of potato fields.
Oh, that's so funny.
I didn't have cable growing up.
Really?
I never listened to hip hop music. I had no idea what my background was. Because we never talked about it. And it's like very rural very,
very
rural.
rural. Like literally in the potato
my idea
fields.
of like, besides playing sports, like fun would be like to go for a walk or to go outside and play.
So is that how you end up in sports? Just from
because I was the only child, so I had nothing to do besides like play with myself. Like it sounds so bad, but like go outside and kick soccer ball around or shoot basketball hoops. Not like
play sports by yourself.
Yes, play sports by myself. Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with playing with yourself. It's very good for you. It's very healthy.
I mean, do you?
It's very healthy. Yeah. Just don't tell us about it. So like what do you think is
That's
the first
for fans
like
only.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. So what's the beginning of like your athletic career? Because the way that I understand it from you is that your first what I would say like your background came from like running, right?
It did.
Like track?
Yeah, it came from track. Like in elementary school, like I was faster. Like we had those field days.
Yeah.
And I would be faster than everyone in the school, like including the guys. So I was like the fastest kid in the playground. And my grandmother recognized that. And thank God for my grandmother, because I probably wouldn't be where I am now. But she recognized that. And she's like, there has to be something more. Because we're from the middle of nowhere, she like didn't know. There's no track. There's no coach. There's no nothing. So she's like, okay, there must be something more. Like I've seen track and field in the Olympics. So she like did her research. This is before like the internet. Like she still doesn't have the internet, but she like found a track coach in like a neighboring town and used to drive me to train with him. And so she would drive me like 3 times a week to go train with him.
To go train with a coach?
Yeah, to go train with a coach for track. And I played other sports too, but like I was like really into track because like I was really good at it.
That was your thing?
Yeah, I was good at soccer, basketball too. But okay, anything I played, I was probably like the number one player, the MVP for like everything. But
just
I really like track.
Outclassing everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'm also super competitive, so it's like everything I do, I've like it's a competition. I was like, I've got to be better. So like I would go like shoot basketball like by myself until like 3-pointers over and over and over and over again, like in my free time, or just kick the soccer ball, like whatever sport season it was. On top of track, I was like, I just would go to practice, but then I would like do all those other things like by myself. I was like the crazy kid that did like 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 like squats before bed, like because I thought I needed to.
So a lot of things, a lot of self-motivation and a lot of willingness to do repetition of...
Yeah, I didn't know any better. Like I had no idea. I just thought like, well, this is...
It's setting you up for a career bodybuilder.
It was. I had no idea. I had no clue.
So at what point did you ever like take that like to, I'm sure you did, right? Like you took that to competitive levels.
Track? Oh yeah. Like I won high school. Like here would be like OFSA. So I won provincials.
Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha.
And like 200, 100, 400. I didn't have a relay because I was the only person on my track team, clearly, because my high school didn't have a track team. It was just me with a permission slip from my teachers saying
Team,
that I could compete.
one athlete.
Yeah, that was me. And then I ran at nationals, Canadian Junior Nationals. I ran at the Canada Games, and then I ran for my university varsity track all 4 years that I went to university, and then I ran Canadian Nationals. First nationals I ran were like under 17, and then I went like the Open Canadian Nationals, Olympic trials. And yeah, I only went as far as that, but I also I coached the whole time. So I was coaching track as I was running track. Oh, okay. And I had the opportunity to coach Team Canada at the World Maccabi Games in Israel. So I got to get the Olympic experience as a coach, not an athlete, but it was still rewarding and like fun. And then I coached Ryerson University track here, and I coached York University Track Club before Ryerson. So I was the head coach of Ryerson University. And then that's kind of when I stopped coaching.
And then that turned into what then? Like what happened after that?
I decided to focus on myself and I started competing in bodybuilding.
Oh, that's when that happened?
Yeah. Because I was spending all this time like coaching other people every night of the week, and I was kind of like over it. And I was like, I'm so competitive that I wanted to compete at something again. Oh, got you. Yeah. So to devote the time to that, I had to kind of give up.
Yeah, because anybody that knows you were probably, I think I can say probably the most competitive person I know.
I still like I'm so competitive of everything. Everything.
I won't say to a fault, but it's one of the things that makes you is that really, really tough competitive side of you. Nobody hates losing more than you. I've never met anybody who hates losing as much as you.
Better at losing over like the years. I used to be a terrible loser. Like, I'll be honest about that. And I've totally learned to be more accepting and like more,
Right.
you know, like have more camaraderie, where it's like,
Well,
I
yeah,
used to
I mean-
see everyone as rivals. And
Yeah,
now I
yeah,
kind of, it's like, no, it's not.
Well,
like
as
that.
long as I've known you, which I mean, it's granted, it hasn't been very long. It's been like maybe how long? Maybe like 4 or 5, 6 years, something like that.
It's been a while.
But yeah, like as long as I've known you, you don't like to lose, but you only really are tough on yourself. You know, like
Yeah.
you're not like you're harsh on yourself, not on your competition.
Yeah, exactly. And if
Which
I
is-
lose, honestly, it motivates me more because I'm like, I got to work that much harder.
That's what I'm saying though. It's like when because you don't like the feeling of losing. So then like every time when because if people ever see the way that you train or the way that you diet or the way that you do anything, it's like if people understood how much it bothers you to lose, like that's why she works so hard.
Fact.
You just don't want to lose again.
No, I hate that feeling.
Yeah, but like, but a lot of it makes sense, right? Like you transition from like coaching, you take those coaching skills from running, and then it turns into like. So okay, let me ask you this: have you ever worked? I don't know if I ever asked you this before. Have you ever worked just like a normal ass, boring ass job?
Oh yeah, I've had some fun jobs over the
Really?
years.
I'm just like trying to imagine you like
so
taking orders at a Wendy's.
Oh God.
It'd be so straight.
My very, 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 very first job was picking potatoes.
Oh my god,
Fact. It was like
that is hilarious.
And where I'm from at that time, there was different types of like harvesting. So when I say picking potatoes, like literally I was in a field with work boots. And so my school would start in August instead of September when all the other schools would start, because so many people where I'm from are involved in the potato industry.
Oh my god, that's so
we would
funny.
get 2 weeks off in September called potato break,
That is
because
hilarious.
everybody works in the harvest.
Oh my god,
we got
that's so
potato
funny.
break. So then the digger would go through the rows and then it would dig up the potatoes. So then with our hands, you pick the potatoes, put them in a basket, take the basket, put it in a barrel, and then you tag the barrel. And I got 50 cents a barrel. And I made enough to buy like my first pair of Nikes. I was like, yeah, yes, that was my first job. And then after that, I was a recreation manager. So I did like day camps in the summer for like kids.
Okay.
And I did that all the way through university, except one summer of university I started, and I I planted trees because it was good money planting trees. But then I was working with all my mom's friends and they were like just gossiping not old. They're probably my age now. Like, they were just like, I couldn't stand
They're
them.
old to you
They were
at
my
the
mom's
time.
friends.
Yeah, I know
I'm
what
like,
you're saying.
I don't want to be hanging out with my mom's friends. So I was like over it. So I quit and I got my recreation job back. So I kind of only did that until like the job started. So that was okay. In university, I worked. God. Okay, number one, I'll say I worked at Fairweather Clothing, which was
that's
also
so funny.
It was like old ladies. I don't know why. I was like, I'll just want to take care of old ladies and spend time with old ladies. But and then on the side, I don't even think you know this.
I don't know any of this. This is amazing.
I was the mascot for my university.
Oh no.
I was the Dalhousie Tiger.
You were the big. Oh my god, that's so funny.
I was in suit. That was me for like 4 years. I was in except when I had a track meet. I was the tiger at all events.
And you just like the.
I was a mascot. Yeah.
So does that explain like the hype dancing that you're doing?
I don't even know. Maybe. Yeah. When I bust out in like a dance that's terrible. Like, yeah.
You just know how to bring the hype at all times.
Yes, because
Just deeply ingrained in your brain.
Yeah,
So.
I was the mascot from my university. But it paid so well. Like, who really wants to like get in a giant costume for hours of sweat?
I would hope it does.
It was a great gig in university.
It sounds
I got paid really well for like 2 hours of like sweating, which was fine by me. I'm okay with it. But the one thing that I didn't like is like dudes like would be drunk and they'd think that I was like a guy in the suit.
Oh.
So then they like roughhouse me. I'm like, bro, I'm a girl, but I can't like, say anything. Whatever. So there was that. What else have I done? And then kind of after that, I've always like worked in a gym. I worked at like it was called Take 30. It's kind of like one of those women's circuit gyms. That was like my first like gym job.
Mm-hmm. And
then I worked at A Good Life. It was my first like real training job, like personal training.
Okay.
The other one was like teaching circuits and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I worked in a hospital. I did breast cancer rehabilitation research for postmenopausal obese breast cancer patients.
That's a jump.
That were involved in a study. Well, I went to school for kinesiology. So I was like, kind of contemplating going back to like take physio or something, and I just wanted like some experience. So I worked at the hospital, and then I did I worked as a kinesiologist doing like brace fitting for like ACL, MCL injuries, like back pain. And then I also worked as a practicing kinesiologist in a physio clinic. So I was doing exercise rehab again, like for people who were in car accidents or came into the physio from surgeries, blah, blah, blah. And kind of after that, I just kind of decided that I wanted to just be a trainer. I worked for Steve Nash at the Steve Nash Fitness Clubs in Vancouver at the very first Steve Nash, so the very original one that he opened up. It's kind of like 24-hour fitness. And they're all over Vancouver now, and British Columbia. They're kind of not here or anything because he has a bigger name there because he's from there. So I worked there, and then I decided I just wanted to be independent, and I decided to start my own business. And I didn't advertise myself to my clients at the time. Like I didn't solicit them. I was just like, hey, leaving, starting my own business, bye. And they all came with me. With like they left the gym, and I was like, how about this? I guess I'm kind of good at what I do. So then, I just kind of started my own business. And then I moved here, carried on online. I worked because no one really knew me here when I moved here as far as like training. I worked at a front desk at a gym in like Yorkville for a while. And here I am.
But it's a lot of it is just like riding the waves.
Yeah, just knowing
it.
like I wanted to be involved in like health and fitness, and just
But it's not like
working off my degree.
Yeah, but you're not sitting picking potatoes in Plaster Rock, going like one day I'm gonna own my own personal training
a lot
business.
of people that are from there are doing that, but no. I always wanted like more. I knew there's more out there. So
yeah, but you never really. It's not like you were sitting there going like I'm gonna be a coach and competitor and all that. And
when I was kind of the only thing I ever wanted to do was like I wanted to go to the Olympics for track. I really wanted to go to the Olympics for track. And I remember once my grandmother, I was talking with her, and she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I just want to go to the gym all day, every day. I like literally said that to her. And that's funny because I'm like, I'm in the gym all day, every day. And like, that is my reality.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like you did it.
Yeah. I mean, I made it. Here I am in the gym all day, every day.
It's weird. It's weird to say, but it's like, that is the dream for a lot of people. Like I wouldn't mind doing that if I was just in the gym all day, every day. Like I feel like I could do that.
Yeah.
And I am in no way connected to like the fitness. Well, I mean, I guess I work marginally around like the fitness industry, but I'm like, if I could have any job that just allowed me to just train all day long, I would do it.
Right? Yeah, it's ideal. I mean,
it's fun.
I wish bodybuilding paid more. I didn't have to do like, not that I don't love what I do, like, but it would be nice if like.
Oh, but yeah, bodybuilding. I don't know. I feel like this is more well understood now-ish, but like, I mean, bodybuilding, strictly competitive bodybuilding, it's not necessarily like a career, right? Like you can't make a complete living off of just competing in bodybuilding.
Some people can. If you,
it's like a 1% type thing.
It is, yeah. And then the people who like still carry on after that is because they've built a brand around their name.
Yeah.
Or they've gotten involved with a company that they're known for that company, and that company, even in retirement, will keep them going because they make a salary from the company, and the company wants to be associated with that person. Yeah. So it's rare.
Yeah, because I feel like when I see a lot of, like a lot of people that are involved in like bodybuilding, like competitively, it's the two main purposes that it serves is, number one, it's for themselves because they like doing it,
100%.
And number two is brand building, because if you're going to be, if you're going to be putting yourself out on the internet and trying to, qualify yourself, because there's so many people out there that are doing it, and like one of the ways that you can try kind of pull away is by being a well-known competitor,
for sure. But now it's to the way social media is now, like you don't even need to compete to create a brand around your name. Like there's so many people who are famous in our world, quote unquote, like on social media, and none of them have ever really competed ever.
Yeah, but it just goes to show you, like it's just all about how you construct that brand, and like everybody does it differently. It just so happens that you did it by being
yeah. I mean, and like it wasn't my purpose, like to like grow a quote unquote brand. It was just like I was just documenting what I was doing, and like I don't really think my posts out that much. It's just like whatever's on my mind, I like write it, and people are like, oh, it's so motivational, you're motivational, you're inspirational. I'm like, I woke up and I was thinking that. Sometimes it's a paragraph, sometimes it's a sentence. Like,
but that's probably why a lot of people connect with you, right? Like you just you know, the fact that there's not a lot of premeditation that goes into everything that you put out there, it's very authentic to you, because it falls out of your brain, just ends up on the internet.
Verbal diarrhea.
It just feels, it feels more like you're a human being, you know, because there's a lot of people, and this is not just exclusive to fitness either, but there's a lot of people that are on the internet that I see, like you can see right through it when you open up somebody's Instagram page, like, oh, that's not your real life.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that's just what part of you am I seeing here?
That's
what are you really like?
creating,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like there's people that'll have like huge personalities like on their story, but then if you ever meet them in person, they're just like really timid and awkward. And
yep.
there's something
so
to
many
that.
people I've met like that, and I'm like, oh, not what I was thinking you were like at all.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're the type of person who is genuinely that type of like big personality and really outgoing, you probably don't need the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you are timid, it's not like just because you're like, you know, like you have that social anxiety, it doesn't mean that you don't have a personality. And for them, that's like an outlet for them to put, you know, construct a version of themselves that they kind of want to be. Mm-hmm. But anyways, the point is, it's like the brand aspect of that is just it's so important. And I mean, for you, it wasn't necessarily about building, because you would have been doing that either way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like you'd be doing the competitive aspect to it no matter what. It just so happened that like.
Well, and the funny thing was that I was like so against social media. Like I didn't even have it until after I graduated university. I was like, I'm not getting this. I'm not being part of this. I don't want to be on social media. F that. And then I was dating this guy, and then I wanted to creep on him, so I got Facebook, and then it was downhill after that. That's the honest truth. And then I was in LA, and I was like doing something, and then someone's like, "You better get your Instagram name now." And I'm like, "What's Instagram? Like, what are you talking about?" And he was like, "It's gonna be the next big thing." I remember I was hiking Running Canyon, and I was like, "Okay, cool." So I signed up for Instagram under like my old business name, which was Alicia Bell Elite. Like elite trainer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Alicia Bell Elite. And it confused a lot of people because people would be like thinking my last name was Belly Light. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that is elite trainer. They'd be like, Alicia Bell Elite? What's that? I'm like, never mind. So then I sat down like at a coffee shop, and I did like one of those drawing boards about, you know, thought ideas of like business names and like putting words together. And then I cross-reference it with the internet to see if there was a website taken. Like I tried to like rebrand myself. But so I got my Instagram name. I was like at Alicia Bell Elite, and then I switched over to Trainitright when I moved to Toronto, and I was rebranding myself, and but I really wasn't. I had no idea what I was doing on Instagram. To be honest, I just got it because somebody told me to.
And then eventually it just builds up to.
Yeah. I think it just kind of organically grew.
That's funny how that works, eh?
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I'm like, I try to like put out there to like a lot of people, just like you don't have to have a plan. Like you don't have to have.
Yeah, Gary Vee says that a lot too. He's like, Instagram is not a poster board. He's like, you should post whatever you want. Patterns don't mean anything.
It doesn't matter. Like, because the amount of people that have like told me that like you have to plan your grid out, and your grid has to, like, because if you ever look at my Instagram, it's a mess.
Yeah,
it's all over the place.
So the reason why, like, if you look at mine, it's kind of clean, but sometimes I go astray. But like, I've been doing like these like 3. Like a series, so I'll do like 3 across, but it's only because, and I'm like, you know, I don't like, because I don't believe that you have to plan out your Instagram, but I have so much freaking content that like I have photos on photos on photos from like years and years and years of photo shoots that I still haven't even used. And like, so I'm like, okay, how can I do this? And I'm like, I'm gonna freaking post the crap out of the world. I don't care if people think I post a lot. I'm getting rid of these photos, like, so I can do new content, like, you know, like what we shot today, and like, you know, so then I can do more like current stuff. But I just want to I don't want it to just sit there and I've never used the photos for anything. So
I've had that problem too, where I'm just like, I shoot so much shit, and I'm just like, I'll stumble on it once in a while when I'm just like cruising through my hard drives, like, oh, I never posted anything from that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's literally like that. I can go through my Dropbox and like find like a bazillion photos that I've never used that are like great. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just like, for a while people were like, oh, you post too much. So then I was like, whatever. I was just kind of posting casually. And then now I'm like, I don't care if I post too much. It's my Instagram. I'm gonna use these photos.
Is it hard to like, because I imagine like when your following grows to like your level, because even in me, I feel this like with people that have like all kinds of things that you know, once you tell somebody that you're doing something on your own, all of a sudden everybody's an expert. And they all have things to tell you. They all know exactly how how to run exactly what you do, yet they're not doing it, right? So like, how do you balance like, you know, all the things that people tell you to do? How do you filter through?
You know, it depends how the person comes at me. Like, it depends on like their interaction with me. Like sometimes like I try to be like more open-minded than I used to about like what someone's saying. But then at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not going to do anything that doesn't seem like me, or like, I want everything to feel like it's like me. It's not fake or whatever. And then just if someone suggests something and it's like, for me, like I'll take it into account, like how they verbally are speaking to me, like, or like typing to me, or how I, you know, read the message. It's like if they're coming at me like, you should do this, it's like, hi, how are you? Yeah, it's a great day, thanks. Like, so it's like sometimes we'll dismiss it. Other times we're in such a weird world right now. Like I can like someone's comment, like double tap it and put a heart on it and like end the conversation. Acknowledge, I'm out.
Yeah, that's like the new universal.
I've acknowledged you. And the way Instagram filters, it'll go to like the other inbox. You know what I mean? So then if I look at the first few words and I'm like, don't know you, and that looks crazy, and I'm like, delete. I don't even read it.
But there is something to that in the way that's interesting. I never thought about that, like how they come at you in the approach, because you can read intention even on like a DM. Yeah, you know, like you can tell the difference between somebody who's genuinely making a suggestion and somebody who's just saying something because they want to feel like they know something that you don't. Yeah, you know. But I just imagine at your level, it's like all over the place.
Yeah, sometimes I miss things. Like if I don't get to it, it just like works its way through like I don't know, like if you look at my phone right now, it's like there's so many messages. Oh yeah, and then constantly and like we haven't been here that long, but it's like. No, that's also because I've got like 5 Instagrams on my phone. Yeah, but like, if I post something and then it refreshes, like it disappears at the bottom. Oh. And I'm not one of those people, like I don't have time because I'm running all the other Instagrams, like to go to every photo I post and look at all the comments. Like I don't do it. Like people say you should interact and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, Instagram analytics will pick that up. Blah, blah. But like, I literally like, I want to work on my client programs, or like, you know what I mean? I can't just like reply to everyone's comments. And so then I'll miss things. And like, so sometimes like I don't see everything that everyone says to me. Right. And then people will get offended. Oh, I wrote this. Da, da, da. I'm like, I didn't see it. Sorry. No clue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've talked about that before. It's like, I found that like probably the best way that I found to handle it is just, you know, listen to everything. Take, you know, be open to everything, but just, you know, it doesn't mean you have to follow. Yeah,
take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you know, like just whatever makes sense to you, that's what you follow. But I mean, like, it doesn't mean you have to shut out opinions that don't necessarily, that you don't want to hear.
Yeah, like I want
you don't have to hide.
Yeah, I want people to be like interactive and like interested. So at least when people are saying even negative things, I'm like, oh, well, you're still following me. So here we are.
That's such a strange world. Yeah. So at what point... So like you start competing, like I guess you progress the same way that everybody else does, right? You start bikini and then
I love bikini. I wish like my body would want to be bikini. I started competing because so let's rewind. I forget which came first. It's not even that long ago. So I had a motorcycle accident, hurt my knee. Oh no, yes. Okay, tore my ACL playing football. Recovered from that, like spent like 6 months to like a year kind of getting normal. Got in a motorcycle accident. A cab driver cut me off and rode off my bike, and then kind of messed up my knee, and like there was some legal stuff, and so I rehabbed that. And then I got a tumor, which was like a migrating tumor that had to be treated with chemo. So then when I had the chemo, it made me like, I was always that girl that was like athletic and had abs and like, you know, just like the fit chick. And that's when I was doing a lot of my commercial stuff because I had like that look. And so then I got a tumor, and the chemo kind of made me like puffy. Like I didn't talk about it. I didn't tell, none of my clients knew I was going to chemo, like nothing. I was just like, whatever, I want to deal with it. Cause I don't like sympathy. So I was like, whatever. Oh. So I was going to chemo. I had 7 rounds of chemo, and the chemo made me like super puffy. And I was just like, I was still in the gym, but like I was just, you know, just working out like regular gym chick. But I was like kind of upset and like pissed off and like whatever. And my friend Jen, who had competed, was like, you should compete. You're in the gym all the time anyway. So I was like, I was kind of against it because it's so subjective. And like with track and field, it's like, I crossed the finish line, I won.
Yes.
And so I was kind of against the like subjectivity of it because it could come down to like literally the head judge like somebody's suit better, or like whatever. So I was like, I'm really against it. But then I was like, I need something. And so I started while I was still having chemo at prep. My very first prep, I was having chemo and I started the prep.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was like this time of the year. I started in like January and I competed in April, my first bikini show, but I had started the prep on chemo. And then I finished chemo during the prep and then went on stage as a bikini athlete, came last call up. And the feedback was like, figure. And I was like, no, stay in bikini. So
really? They told you right from the beginning?
Yes.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't want to be figure. I love bikini. It's so girly, like whatever. So then I competed again in bikini. I came second, which was good, but it was like a small show. And then the feedback was like, figure. And then the coach I hired at the time, we need not speak his name, was like, I'll only coach you if you do figure. And I was like, fine, I'll give it a try. And that was kind of like the beginning of the figure division for me.
Oh.
So
yeah, because by the time I met you, you were long done with bikini. Like you were deep in figure at that point.
Yeah.
You were chasing the pro card when I met you.
Yeah, I mean, and I only, like, it was about, I did one season, I did 2 shows. And then it was straight to, like, I already had, like, what people would call like a pro physique. So that next year when I met you, it was 4 shows pro.
Yeah. Like you were like right on the cusp of it.
Every time.
Yeah, like when I met you, that's when you were, every show you were like runner up every time.
Yeah, I was either I'd win my class and lose the overall, because in Canada you have to win the overall to get your pro card.
Yeah.
Or I just would come super, super close. Yeah.
And that's where that hatred of losing.
Yeah. I'm like, as soon as I step off stage, I'm like, okay, next show is, and then that October, if like I hadn't have got it at nationals, I was literally ready to go to the Caribbean for like the next pro qualifier. I was like, I'm going to the Caribbean. But I didn't have to.
So when you won the pro card. I just remember like whenever you would go off to compete somewhere, me and the rest of the torque people would be at home, and then we'd all come into the gym and see each other and be like, do you guys know did Alicia win? And then we're like, every time we were always just like, there was always a general anxiety of just like, please tell me she won this time.
So she's about to spend all day on the stairs.
Because I'm just like, because like we eventually like started to empathize, because we're just like, we wanted you to win so badly too, because we saw what it did to you when you lost and like how badly you wanted it. So that when like the couple times when you would, you know, lose the overall, or like the one time when you just came like runner up, we're just like, oh, like we felt it too.
Yeah.
Definitely not as badly as you did.
Well, that's what was cool, is like you guys always support me. Like I would come in and someone would be on the Stairmaster, be like, you beat the stairs? I was like,
yeah, your Stairmaster. Like they may still have written your name on it. It was your Stairmaster.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Everybody knew it too. When they saw you and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I just like, I've been on a thing like maybe one time. I'm just like, this sucks. I just get off.
It does suck. In the best possible way.
But like, so then when you won your pro card, like, so how, like that must have felt crazy.
You have no idea, because there was so much stuff going on behind the scenes too. But it was like, it was like an undescribable feeling. Like if you asked me how to describe, like I couldn't. I can't even tell you. Like it just.
Do you have like the specific memory of them calling, or do you just like black out and just?
I remember being backstage, and then I was like, it's like I kind of already knew, because I had been in the center, but you never know. You can never say like, you know, but I had been in the center the entire overall, and they never moved me, and they moved people around me, and then they just, for some reason, it took what felt like forever backstage to like call the number. And I remember like being in my head, just like, I said it out loud to Tish. We saw her at the gym today. Tish, the girl that when I was on the treadmill. Yeah. She was in the overall with me, and we were both like standing there, and I'm just like, oh my God, come on already. And then they're like, number 213, Alicia Bell. And I was like, yes.
Just like all the angst and all the anxiety.
Yeah. And I wanted to cry, but Minnie O'Brien was on stage, and she's like, don't cry. Like as I'm like about to cry. And she says to me on the stage, she goes, nobody wants pictures of an ugly crier. And I'm like, I'm not going to cry. So I like held back my tears. I was like, okay.
And you just break down when you get off the stage.
You know what? I didn't really feel real. Like, I was still like, okay, I won. But it was just like, I didn't cry. It was like, finally, like, it was just like that feeling. I was like so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it. It was just like,
it's just a flush of.
Yeah. Because I wanted so bad. It was just like, I didn't even like. All of my emotions were mixed up and had no idea what to do.
Yeah, I feel like that's just something that like very, very few people like. I don't know if I'll ever know what that feels like.
Yeah,
you can only kind of imagine because you see these people having these reactions of just like somebody who like wins like a championship belt or like a world title at this or whatever, and you're just like I always watch those and I'm just like I wonder what that feels like.
Yeah, it's like I can't even describe it. Like even if I tried to this day, I have like no idea how to explain like.
Yeah, but like for a lot of people, what you don't realize too is just like there's not like you see the apex of the journey there.
Yeah.
But like there's a long road.
Yeah, it's like the iceberg analogy.
Like 90,
it's like
90% of it you don't see.
Yeah.
Right? You just see that one victory. So like a lot of people will see that and be like, oh, I want to feel that way, but then they don't understand like what it takes to get there, and like you know that whole idea of being ultra competitive, because you know if you're gonna win in a sport where you have to beat out other people, you gotta beat out other people.
Yeah.
So like if you don't have that one, because not everybody has that. I don't have that killer instinct of just like being able to like beat out other people, just because like it's intimidating if you're ever like in any kind of competitive like sport.
Yeah,
it's intimidating being amongst other people that have that competitive edge, that if you don't have it, you probably can't hang with them.
Yeah, and a lot of times in the sport, like you're by yourself, like you're working out by yourself, you're dieting by yourself behind closed doors. Like
yeah, a sport like yours, yeah, for sure.
You have like a lot of self-responsibility, so it's like you really put your effort in everything that you do, like shows on stage, like all the little things, sleep, like
it's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
supplements, cardio intensity. It's like adherence to the plan. Like it's everything.
Yeah, like you talk about like a 12 or like a 8 week, a 12 week, a 20 week prep sounds like a long time for the one state, but it's not just the prep, right? Like it's years and years for you, especially like this. It's years and years and years that then end with that 20-week prep, and then you see like. How much stage time you get? Like a minute?
Oh god! Like your individual
like
routine at the time was 15 seconds. Now it's 10 seconds.
That's crazy.
But like, yeah, you don't see all that. But it's also everything that I was doing before, like all the track and all the in the gym, and that built up to me being able to get my pro card in, I guess, 2 years, less than 2 years, which is very quick for most people. Some people spend their entire life and never get it. But it's also my whole life I was unintentionally training for it. Like you said, like back when I was like in high school and I was doing like squats and push-ups and stuff, like I was preparing myself to be able to get my pro card once I started competing so fast, because most people, it takes shows and shows, especially in Canada where you have to win the overall. In the States, sometimes they do top 2 in each class, not just the overall get a pro card. So because they have a bigger population than us. So here it's like overall or nothing. So it's even like more rare to get it in Canada.
Right.
So,
but it still is like, but like that's why, like if you can't just look at one person's like victory moment and then study their story and like I'm gonna do it exactly like that.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen.
It doesn't work like that. But that's
genetics, environment. There's so many factors. It's
like you're the way that you're raised.
Yeah,
you know, like
there's no comparing, especially with like bodybuilding. It's so much to it. Like you can't compare yourself, and that's if you start comparing yourself, you're never gonna. Yeah, it's so hard to succeed.
So there's one thing that's like that has somehow made its way into like every episode of the podcast so far. It's like comparing the ideas of being somebody who's very process oriented versus somebody who's very goal oriented. I think you are probably the best example of somebody who is both.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100%. You have to be. It's like the process to get to the goal. Like you got to break it down to get to the big goal.
Yeah. Because you are, I mean, you do have that drive to where you are the type to really obsess over like that one victory.
100%.
And that you're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. But like at the same time, you know, like you said, like you when you were younger, like I want to be in the gym all the time.
Yeah.
And you're just like, so that's the process that gets you there. That doesn't mean you don't have, the drive to want to only win the thing, but like, so how do you, it's just such a, like a unique characteristic that like, being able to fall in love with the process while still keeping an eye on that prize.
Yeah. I mean, you have to love every minute of everything that you're doing. Like, I mean, I'm hard on myself, and it might sound like sometimes like I don't love it, but I do. Like, I'm ridiculously hard on myself, but I like the hard things. And I like the idea that like I'm willing to do what like a lot of people aren't willing to do, and that motivates me. Like even now, like my goal was like you were at my pro debut, and it was like I was too big.
Yeah.
Lovely. Great. How much did I really grow from October to June anyway? But whatever. Apparently I'm bigger than most pros after just winning my pro card, but it is what it is. So that motivates me because I was like, okay, well, I want to stay figure. So what do I got to do? And I've lost 9.1 pounds of muscle since July when I did a DEXA, and I did a DEXA last month. So I'm willing to do the hard stuff. So that was my goal this year, is like those little things. Like most people, like it's really hard to lose muscle, and most people like work really hard to build it, and like really sad when I was like, I'm losing muscle. Like this is what's happening because this is what I want to do. So it's like, let me do the harder route. So the harder route was losing muscle. So
yeah, because I think a lot of people too, because I remember when I first met you, there was a period when you were like very, very lean for like 2 straight years. Yeah.
And that's hard to do. It's not the easiest thing to do.
And like you were like, if not,
I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. I was just really close to the card.
Yeah. But like there was a stretch of time where like nobody ever really got to see exactly, what you really look like.
Yeah.
Like, like the amount of muscle that you have on you, it's like, it's crazy because we would see you like shredded for like walking around shredded for like 2 years.
Yeah. And last year was like the first year for prep that I lifted heavy too. So then it just goes to show like my genetics are just set up for like muscle building. Like
it's crazy.
More than most people.
Crazy amount of things. So for you, if you had to pick one between the process and the goal, what to you is more important?
Ooh.
That's an interesting question.
That is a really interesting question. I almost think the process is more important because you can have all these goals. Like I have, goals on goals on goals, but you have to pick one, and then you have to figure out the process, and the process has to get you there. So I think the process is more important because it leads you to that goal. And if you don't have a process set out, you're never going to achieve the goal. So I think the process definitely is more important.
It's more. Do you think it's more important to value the process versus the goal? So let's say, for example, if you go five years and never reach that one goal, or let's say you go your whole life, never reach that goal, and at the end of the day, the process is all you had, right? Like that day to day. And if you didn't enjoy that, this is my point versus, because, I would definitely fall on the more process oriented side. Because for me, if I'm to set a goal that like either changes in 5 years or just I never reach it, and I just shift gears, change lanes, I have to look back. I have to be able to look back and say, the 5 years that I spent trying to get to this one goal, did I enjoy those 5 years?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if the answer is no, that would be devastating to me.
Right? Exactly.
So but I mean, for you at the same time, like you definitely value that goal.
Oh, I value the goal so much, but the goal can change. So take, for example, like when I was chasing my pro card, I had in my bathroom mirror written, I will win my pro card in 2018. Okay. So then in my head, the process was I was going to do the Arnold's, and then the Arnold's was going to get me that goal. So I didn't win the Arnold's, as we all know. And I crossed off, the 2018 or whatever. I crossed it off and I put the next show was at Toronto Pro. So I changed my goal. But the process to get there was still the same things that I had been doing, but I just made my goal more specific. So then I won my class and I lost the overall at Toronto Pro. And I was like, okay, crossed it off. I will win my pro card in 2018 at the Vancouver Pro. Worst showing of my life. Well, I came third. It's not that bad. But I didn't win my class, which is like weird for me at that time. I was like, whatever. Cross it off. Process stays the same. The goal kind of changed. So then it was like, I will win my pro card in 2018 at Canadian Nationals in October. And I did. But I kept my processes going the whole time as the goal kind of adapted. So I still had the goal, but the goal was changing as my processes, like as I was going through the process.
Right.
But I kept the general goal. It just like, it took me longer to get it than I thought it would get it. But I still kept my eye on the goal. But I still had to make a priority of the process to get to that goal, even though the goal was slightly changing, if that makes sense.
And you're just constantly dealing with like you're like, okay, it didn't happen this time, didn't happen that time.
Yeah. But I still had 2018. I mean, I'm glad I wrote 2018 because heck, I could probably still be chasing it if I hadn't put 2018. But I was like adamant that it was going to happen.
That's what makes you interesting, is that you kind of ride that line of just like, because it's not black and white. Because like I the way that I talk about it makes it seem very black and white. It's either you're somebody who values only the process, or somebody who only values the goal. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? You can have a balance of both.
Yeah.
And I mean, for you, it's like,
I feel like if you're too focused on the goal, you forget to enjoy the process.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're too focused on the process, you lose sight of the goal. So you got to kind of, make
put
it
yourself
work.
in there.
Well, that's what I do. I mean, yeah, I guess it's not for everybody.
Yeah. Because I always wonder too, like, because, you don't get it the first time sometimes, like you'll miss on your way up there. And like, those little failures along the way, it'll knock some people out of the race, because like you just can't handle.
Yeah, 100%. People like lose their motivation or like just give up because it's not easy. It's like today, like our society, with everything we're used to getting, like instantly.
Instant gratification.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people can't deal with those. Like they feel like, well, I mean, like I don't love using the word failure. But like, it's kind of what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like you set a goal, you don't meet it, it's a failure. Sure. Like you can.
And they don't want to feel that again, or they don't want to experience it. Instead, I use it for motivation, where most people just kind of like, okay, well, what else can I do? What's next? What's whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, now I'm motivated. I gotta be better than I was. Like,
have you put any thought into what happens if you ever decide to stop competing? Because I mean, obviously
for sure.
you have
like I can't do this sport forever. Like, and I'm not like
Mm-hmm.
a lot older than most people think I am.
It's not a bad problem to have.
No, not at all. But like I mean, all the things that I'm doing now are setting me up. Like, being involved with all these companies and what we're trying to create here. This is just the beginning of something that I feel like is going to be really big, even though I didn't mean to get involved in it. I'm like, I feel like I'm part of like the HD family in all aspects. And like, we're continuing to grow the brand and build the brand from the ground up. And that's kind of like what we want to do. So I feel like I'll always be involved in the sport, like as a coach at some level, and behind the scenes, like doing things like promoting, trying to make the sport better for other people and taking what I've learned and giving them a better experience. So I kind of feel like I'll always have some sort of involvement in the sport now, at whatever level. I'm involved in a gym that, houses bodybuilders and fitness enthusiasts, and, building that so they can have the best experience, in their career. And like, I have a say in things. And also with the supplement company being involved in, it's not just a supplement company. It's a very well thought out formulas that are without fillers and all natural and sweetened with stevia versus just fake crap. Like, it's something that will make athletes better. And I'm not just saying that because I'm involved in it. Like, I truly believe in that. And then that in its own, like, I'm involved in something so amazing like that. So, that is also something that I wouldn't be doing if I hadn't have started this sport. So it's like, I feel like I'm not just putting all my eggs in one basket as being like a competitive bodybuilder, which doesn't pay any money. And that's what a lot of people do. They chase this pro card, but then it's like, it doesn't pay the bills. Like, now what? So you've put everything into this and you're living at home in your mom's basement. Like, congrats. Like, you're a pro. Like, what does that do for you? But I want to use the pro status to help people and make people better, not just have it next to my name and just like, ride that like quote unquote famous wave of being a pro. Like, I want to have people respect me because I'm a pro and I have all these experiences, but like also help them and give back, because that's what I wish I would have had, 10 years before I even did the sport. I wish I had the knowledge about the sport. Like, and, so if I can help people get involved younger, but do it smart and with, the best environment, the best whatever, then I've already like, done well as a pro in my mind, even if I, I'm only competing in 5 years, like whatever.
Yeah, I love that. That's how you build like it becomes like a weird little ecosystem.
Yeah.
Of like, people that kind of retire from competing, or people that like, maybe have things that force them to retire early. But
I know pros who got their card, and then that's what their whole goal was, just to get the card, and then have never competed as a pro.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I guess that would happen, right? Like that's once you're a pro, then what? Yeah.
Sometimes like it's the luck of who shows up. Like, just because you got your pro card doesn't mean you're gonna be a good pro.
Right.
And like, they got their pro card, but then they know, or not necessarily everybody, but some people just like know they're not going to be able to be a competitive pro. So why spend all that money? Why put all that effort? Because like, end of the day, like,
right. Those are the people that are only focusing on the goal.
Exactly. Yes, they are.
So that's another problem that comes up. It's just like, what happens if you put all your time, you put all your eggs in this one basket that like puts you to this one goal, and then you get it, then what? Yeah. Like, if people that don't have a plan for what happens after.
Like, congrats, but it's not everything.
Right.
It's not everything.
You still got to have a life after that.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like when you get a degree, but you don't get hired after you get your degree because you don't have any experience. It's like, it's
interesting.
It's kind of like same thing, right? Like, it's like, okay, you got a pro card, but you don't have anything else. Is what it is,
Yeah, but then like you contribute to that little ecosystem, and then everything just like slowly build. You can build the sport up to have more, like a wider base of knowledge and a lot more resources, and like the internet's a really big part of that, right?
Yeah.
It gives people like a lot of opportunity to have like this kind of a career and this kind of a, this aspect of giving back and rebuilding, even once you've aged out of the sport, or like if you've like suffered some sort of injury that forces you out of the sport, and like
nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah. So that's really, it's really interesting. But I'm like, it's just the whole story. We didn't even touch the lingerie football league.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
When I first moved to Toronto, I was working front desk at a gym. And I was looking for, like, I wanted to compete at something because, like, I've always competed at something. But when I moved to Vancouver, I took a pause at competing because I had competed at the Olympic trials, and I was just kind of like, all my friends are making the Olympic team. I didn't make the Olympic team. Now what? So I moved to Vancouver. I was working. I forget things that I do. So not only was I working at the gym there, but I was also bartending and like doing coat check and like working in a club. There was a really cool club, actually. It was called Richards on Richards. For anyone who's from Canada, has been in Vancouver, and I say that, you will definitely know what I'm talking about. It's kind of it was an iconic club, and we would have like concerts, but we would have people there before they became famous. So I saw Lady Gaga do an acoustic set. I saw Katy Perry do an acoustic set. Wow. I saw Z-Trip. And in this, like, it was more like an intimate club, but it was right before they became famous. When they're kind of in the underground and like people are starting to talk about them.
You catch them right before they hit.
And I took it for granted because I was like, I don't care. I'm just trying to get tips. But then when I think back now, I'm like, holy crap, I saw this person, I saw that person. I didn't even like.
Before they blew out.
Before like taking pictures with your cell phone and Instagram was even existing. Like, I saw these cool people, like, but like half of them I don't even remember now because like I wasn't really paying attention. I was just in the club working. Yeah. But so I was working there, and whatever. And I just took a break. Like, I was kind of like, working in the gym, but I wasn't really competing at anything. So when I moved back here, I was like, okay, I want to compete at something. Like, I was coaching track, and I was contemplating making a comeback in track as a master's athlete. Because master's is a lot younger in track than like most sports. So I was like, maybe I'll come back in track. And then I'm like, no, I don't really feel like coming back in track. I'm still coaching track. I'm not trying to be an athlete right now and compete potentially against my athletes. So then I was like, what can I do? And I like saw this like ad somewhere or something. It was like, try out for the lingerie football league. I was like, sick. I saw this on TV. I was like, minimal equipment. I can hit girls. I can fight and not get in trouble. This is perfect for me.
Did they fight in that league?
Oh, yeah. Oh, and you could say anything. There's minimal penalties. Like, it's very like, oh, yeah. There's a fight on YouTube between the Pittsburgh team and our team. It was like all bench. We're just beating the snot of each other, and like they just break it up and then like, okay, carry on with the game. So it was fun, but like I talked a lot of shit when I was playing. Well, I just swore a couple of times, but anyway, so I like the masks, there's no like you can reach your hand up underneath the mask. They're like a half hockey helmet, you know what I mean? So like people like, I like calling them like, you're a fat bitch. Like getting punched in the face, and like every game I had like black and blue lips, and like whatever, because I just talk so much trash. But yeah, I thought it'd be right up my alley because I'm fast, I can run, I can catch ball, like I like sports. Like yeah, it was a good fit at the time of my life. So I played a little lingerie football until I tore my ACL, and that was that.
And it forced you out of it.
Yeah, and it wasn't really popular here in Canada, Toronto. Like
it's a very strange idea.
It is, but like, and people be like, "Oh, they're wearing lingerie," but like, we really weren't. We were wearing like booty shorts and like a sports bra, and we had shoulder pads on and like knee pads and elbow pads. We were wearing more than beach volleyball wears, and it was like. It's more of like entertainment, and that's more like Americanized. Like Americans will go drink a beer and watch something ridiculous like that. Canadians are too like, oh my God, they're girls and they're hitting each other in their underwear. Like, so we in the States, they'd sell out arenas in the league, and then here we wouldn't sell out. It wasn't making a profit for the league, so the league kind of just dissipated here.
Right.
But I mean, I don't really see anything wrong with it. It was fun. It was something to compete at.
It's just such a random thing. The first time you sent me a picture of you in the uniform, I was like, what? I was like, at what point in your life does this fit? Like, where?
I mean, I was just trying to compete at something, and I was trying to find something.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think that's a good little story to close out on. But like, it's a good. That's why like you're so interesting to talk to, because like you're not somebody who just having the classic grow up in the suburbs, go to school, graduate, don't know what the fuck you're gonna do, and then that's when you figure out what do I actually like. Like, I feel like that's so many people's story is just you follow the formula. I mean, I did this. Like you follow the formula, which is you grow up. You learn please and thank you. You get good grades. You go to school. You get a degree, and then it's like, okay, go ahead, live your life. And like, oh, well, you give me no resources, and then that's when you start to ask yourself, okay, who am I? What do I like to do? And then so like most people don't even start their life until they're like 22.
Yeah,
but like with
older.
you were just
I graduated high school at 17, so I left my house when I was 17.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I will have a late birthday, and then we start school early there. So I graduated when I was 17. I turned 18 my first year of university.
Oh, and then you were, I got you.
Yeah, because here at that time, you guys had grade 13. So we didn't. So like, yeah, I was at school early, university early.
Yeah.
I had no clue what I was doing, but I was there.
But you were but like throughout like the thread of your life, there's always a part of you that's asking yourself, like, what do I like to do? And you're always going after.
Like, I can't. I'm always, every time I've worked like a job, like when I was working at Fairweather, I was like miserable. When I was working for somebody else at a front desk at a gym, I was miserable. Like,
yeah. So anytime you were doing something that was quote unquote you were supposed to do, you're not happy.
Yeah.
So it's just when you follow what you like to do, that's when you find yourself.
Yeah, and even the roles that I'm in now, although like I'm working for people and someone, it's very independent, and I like have a say in what I post. Like for Pure, like today I dreamed up like I want to feature this person, or I want to write about this, and they just let me post it. And it's like, sometimes they'll tell me like, yeah, we want this, but it's not, I don't feel like I'm not in control of like what I'm doing, or like I don't have a say.
Right.
I feel better when I have a say or can voice my opinion.
I love that about you, though. And that's one of the things that I admire the most about you, is that you are somebody who really does march to the beat of your own drum, and you don't really, and now at this point in your life, you are at the most of a position where you don't have to give a fuck what anybody says.
Yeah.
And now you can really just do whatever the hell you want, and you're really,
for the most part.
Yeah. But it's not like you ever decided, okay, one day I'm going to be somebody who only does what I want to do. So you lived your whole life like that, and it led you to the life that's where you're in a position where you don't have to listen to anybody except yourself anymore.
Yep, fact.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, there's so many things that we like didn't even touch. I'm like, all the cities you've lived in. I'm like, oh my god, like your life story is so.
Stories, yeah, some good stories.
Some crazy stories that we don't have time to get to all of them. But yeah, is there anything else you want to plug or to talk about? I mean, we've talked a lot about the HD. I don't know how much of that is off limits to talk about.
No, we can talk about anything. It's pretty open. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got so you're with Team HD now for coaching. The supplement brand is coming soon. There's
HD
apparel
Muscle.
for
It's out. It's out.
Oh, it's launched. Oh, it is launched.
Yeah.
Oh, it is launched. Yeah. I've seen that. So yeah, so like all of that is launched, but it's all like And then you still got
my stuff, Train It Right.
You still got the Trainitright brand going. You got like a million things going on. Like people tell me I'm busy. Like it's hard for me to look at myself and say that when I know people like you.
Right? like this whole time, however long we've been talking, my phone is
just destroying
11 messages somewhere on one Instagram, and then Team HD Muscle Mansion.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 clients have messaged me.
Yeah, you really do embody that attitude that I advocate for, which is like, well, no matter what you're doing, you can always do a little bit more.
Something like that.
Within reason. Within reason. You gotta take care of yourself too. But I gotta get you back to tell some more of these weird, wacky stories.
Yeah, we're gonna do a story time. Another story time.
Yeah, but appreciate being able to call you a friend. Yeah, and it's always nice talking to you. And I don't get to see you as much anymore now that you're out here. But
sorry.
Well, I mean, I guess
but also want to say that I'm proud of you because, again, we talked about at the beginning how when you had like little camera, didn't know what you're doing, and I'm like, can you vlog me? And like now look what you're doing. You started your own podcast. It was amazing. I always wanted to do a podcast. In fact, I have a microphone, and I was going to do it once, but let me just add that into the things that I'm doing now and sleep when.
Well, I mean, that's what I did.
Fair. I feel like I wouldn't interview people. It would just be me ranting.
You could hold up a podcast all on your own, just talking.
That's what my YouTube is. It's just me ranting these days.
Yeah, you could definitely do it. You could definitely hold it up. But I hope anything that you feel like doing, I say go after it because I feel like you can do anything. Of all people that have ever proved to me that anything's possible, you are a huge example of that. So appreciate having you here.
Thank you. Thanks
and we'll
for
talk
having
again
me.
soon. And that's the podcast for this week.
Follow me.
Always follow Alicia Bell. Train It Right on
Everything's
Instagram. Everything's Train It Right.
Yeah,
so
I'm really easy to find.
Yeah. That's the unified branding.
Facts.
Train It Right everywhere. Instagram, YouTube. Follow those vlogs and keep an eye out for the next time we got you on here. But that's the podcast for this week with Alicia Bell. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.